Dreaming of owning land? Shelter Zimbabwe makes it possible. With prime residential stands in Rockview Park, Mavuku Chishanje, and Lendi Park Marondera, we've got the perfect location for you. Enjoy flexible payment terms, whether cash or as little as 20% deposit with affordable monthly installments. Prices are inclusive of VAT, giving you peace of mind as you secure your future. Don't wait. Become a proud landlord today with Shelter Zimbabwe. Gaia Uri Landlord. Welcome back to episode 2, where every corner holds a story. In this episode, we journey deeper, uncovering the voices, places, and memories that continue to shape legacy.
How they would milk the cows and so forth, where they St. Peter's Kubatana.
That farm here in the Park Ridge, Kwakuzonzana, Warren Park, going to Kwazana. Penge Pene Mombedze, this Murungu, Goddard, the one who fixes roads, he had a farm there. So today it's now Katime Town. People, don't remember. But you know how I came here.
Let's just go back to what I was telling you about Baxter, especially the where the St. Peter's Kubatana. Some actually, when St. Peter's Kubatana then started, some of the buildings there were actually part of the farmhouse, because I saw that happening and so forth.
And where today, the school is.
Where the school is, and today, and I think. I'm not sure that it was Father Rogers or one of the Catholics who was.
It was Father Davis. Father Davis, the one who came from Chishawasha, the one I entered as a Bora.
C.S. Davis.
Yes.
Whose name is was incorporated into the swimming pool. The swimming pool is C.S. Davis swimming bath in Highfield. So he was very, very.
He had come from Chishawasha, and he's the one who built that stadium in Portland Cement.
I wasn't aware of that.
Isusu takatovaka nemaoko edu tichitakuriswa zvinhu nemawheelbarrow tivaka the stadium. It was Father Davis. He was obsessed with soccer, and he had come from St. Paul's achiuya kuchishawasha.
And you're talking about St. Paul's, where the likes of Ana Tsumbe, Ana Jimmy Numalo, Ana Josiah Numalo, even Ana George Shire, Matanyera used to play at St. Paul. So Father Davis was behind that team.
He's the one who started the team. He was so obsessed.
I mean, the team. You remember those teams? It will take us into soccer. That team was very good. And then you also had Mangula. You also had Risco, which was Zisco. You had Wange. These were teams coming out from outside, playing with Dynamos here, Ainangozi, playing with Kellys, and playing with Tornadoes, which later became Black Aces or Chibukushumba and so forth. We had Salisbury City also playing in the league and so forth. Those are the teams who would watch in Gwanzura Stadium. You remember the year that John Charles came in? The year that the Muvulira Wanderers came from Zambia
to come and play.
And this team which came from Portugal, which then snatched Fred Mkwesha. You remember it? And then you remember how Kellys would struggle.
Although my memory is not as good as yours, I think you should be cloned.
You remember how the white people in Kellys would say Makwesha. Because you dribble them and so forth.
And Kellys, their home was Grindels, and that Portuguese club.
I know there's Kelly's
that
ground
was
somewhere.
I think that was their home.
Kelly's ground somewhere.
That was their home.
The only Portuguese club I knew of was Lustanos. If you remember that. So I then got an interest in soccer from that time, from that boyhood time. And by the way, we did not get into the stadium the formal way, Taipoya. And I think I still have a mark I got from the barbed wire when I was scaling into. Actually, yesterday I was showing one of my brothers that, remember, we used to scale behind it. There's now a Tawengwa service station there overlooking those tents. It was the best place to sneak in and over. Because if you failed to sneak in, then it meant that you would only go into the stadium 15 minutes before the end of the match, which they used to call halftime. It wasn't halftime at all. It was just 15 minutes before. So I developed my interest in soccer at that time, and also playing the street ball on the streets. Which is why for many years in the 70s and to the early 80s, I was a soccer commentator. I learned it through playing soccer on the streets. scaling the free fence to watch Kelly's, Tornadoes, to watch Arcadia United, Salisbury City, Yellow Peril, and then the coming of the outside teams like John Charles, Mufulira Wanderers, and which one again? Yeah, and Sport de Braga, which took Freedom Quesha to Portugal.
Right.
You remember those?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
right.
And also playing in Zimbabwe grounds, but not anything to write about in my case. But I associated, or I was in the same classes or in the same neighborhood with the likes of Oliver Gatea. We were together at Mija for some time at Highfield Secondary School. Sheikh Mentauro, he was my young man. He also came from Zororo there, but he was at Rushingo when I was at Kuzanai.
Did you manage to grow up Bora Racho?
Adairoa zokuti but anambopinda yeah. Ana Rodrick Mganiri, ana uyu Chidzero, Mike Chidzero, the likes of and other
Mike
players.
Chidzero, the minister?
No, the brother to the minister. You remember the Chidzeros were just next to Machipisa shopping center there. We have the Chidzeros, you've got Albert Nawu.
Oh, okay, the minister was Bernard.
He was Bernard Chidzero. Yes. Mm-hmm. So the brother Mike used to be a goalkeeper for Tornadoes.
Right.
They were neighbors with the Mareres, the politician. In engineering. That is where I grew up. So then we also had Rodrick Mkaniri, who became a medical doctor. He was from engineering as well. I was telling you about Oliver. It was because we met at school, at primary and secondary school. Sheikman, like I said, again, as a commentator now, but he had come from Rushingo. And many others that we
So take me to our entertainment. All I remember was that
CJ.
Taienda ku CJ, ku Bioscope, taienda ku Kwamshandra Pamwe, for music.
Well, that's a bit late. Let's start from the 60s.
Okay.
Yeah. You remember it was CJ?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
CJ.
CJ. And then
so you will take us into CJ,
and
into Chandra Pamwe, into Skyline,
I cannot take you
into Fed, into Queens, into Elizabeth.
Yes, I won't take you to Chandra Pamwe because the time I'm talking about, it wasn't even built.
No, it wasn't.
We're talking about Mtanga.
Yes.
Remember Mtanga Modern Nightclub and Restaurant? It was one of the most popular.
Yeah.
Then
Mtanga Dupa has CBZ and it or BCCI in those days. The bank.
BCCI, but I think it was what was in Pogo's supermarket? Choppies. There was a Choppies shop there.
No, but Choppies is of today.
Yes, I'm
Choppies
saying
is of today, long after independence.
Yeah, long after independence. But I'm just.
But Mtanga was up the road from Mwaera, didn't it?
Yes, it was overlooking Mwaera. It was overlooking Mwaera.
Okay.
You remember there was Tangawabai were there.
Right.
Then you had the dry cleaners.
Yes.
Then you had same stationers and printers. I think that's where the CBZ is now.
Right.
Same stationers. Remember, we used to sell books. We used to buy most of our books there. Yes. Even Ndebele books would actually request and say, my father would go and request and say, Mr. Chitaukire, he was the owner. Would want you to
Your
order.
memory is mind-boggling.
Yeah. So Sam Chitaukire would bring those books, and we used to read Ndebele books in the 60s because Mr. Chitaukire would just provide them, sell them there at some stationers and printers, and we kept abreast with our language. Wow. You're asking me where that I come from Escotina, how come I know about these things? Yeah. It's because we never lost our identity through reading.
But you were born in Harare, right?
I was born
and
in
you
Harare.
Were raised
at
here.
Harare
So
Central Hospital, now called Salim Gabe, when my parents were living in Mbare, which was called Harare location. Yes. But the year I was born, that's where we got a house in Highfield and moved to Highfield in 1955.
Wow.
And which is where we still have that house. We've renovated it. Looks like.
So if you moved in Highfield in 1955, when were you born?
I was born in 1955, so I was about 3 months old.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
So we moved to Highfield, and that's where I lived, going to schools like Kudzanai, Sungai, and Mija. And then Highfield Secondary School.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the business community of our time, what have you to tell us? What I can,
let's start with Machipisa.
Well, Machipisa is one way of looking at
it.
The other one is
Machipisa.
Mabazi, ana Samriwo, Mabazi, ana Chanakira, Mabazi, ana Sarenda, ana Rusike.
Okay. Just name them one by name them one by one as I elaborate. So we started the shops.
All right.
There is Machipisa there,
okay.
right at the corner. Started by Mr. Philemon Mzondiwa, who is well known as Machipisa.
Right.
And next to him you had Jangira. Right. Remember Jangira?
Yes.
And there was Chinamora there.
Right.
Then down the line you had the likes of Njerere, Shamari Zaganaka. Remember that? Then you had a Gazaland.
Yes.
The Gazaland shops that are in
Western Triangle.
They were started by the Mwakutuya brothers who were at Machipisa, the Gazaland groceries, next to Kichimani.
Okay.
Then they went over to Western Triangle, where they are well established as Gazaland. I was talking to Mr. Mataure just a few minutes ago.
I saw that.
So talking about the business people of his time, because Mr. Mataure was working at the Mwaira shop. He was the manager at Mwaira's shop.
Right.
Yeah. Then moving from
did he end up our superintendent?
No, that's the brother.
His brother.
And interestingly, that brother, he started as superintendent, and then he started as a headmaster. He was my first headmaster in January 1962.
The brother.
Yes, the brother who is the father of Michael Matauri.
Okay, who was a superintendent?
Then he became superintendent,
yes,
and became the director of housing. He also was the director of Chitungwiza, if you remember.
Do the kids of today know Kutiko Chino the superintendent?
I'm not sure. Well, maybe they know them as town managers.
Yeah, my DO, district my district officers now.
Yes.
Are in charge of a township. Saka superintendent yairevachi, we are
superintendent. Yeah, so you're superintending the township. Yes. Wow. Yeah, he was in charge, he was managing the township. So many things have to be managed in the townships, the rents, the roads, just the general cleanliness of the town. You remember those days there were competitions where houses would be given prizes for having the best garden and so forth. I remember the Mbofanas, Inos. Bofana used to have a beautiful garden. Morrison's Phelan also used to have a beautiful garden. So those were some of the top gardens. That's where we would just walk around just to see the green lawn, the nice flowers and so forth. Kuma 5 pounds or near as you went to CJ.
Yeah.
So let's just finish off about the shops. So you had Machipisa, Chinamora, Jangira, Msariri, Njerere, and you had Kichimani there. Then you had Anazimuto, Ana Tangawabayo, I talked about already. Then you had Chokurewa Fashions. Remember the one we wanted to replicate Bata in Highfield. Yeah. I think it's a Butsu. And then Butsakanaka.
Yes.
Yeah, and my brother Stalin Maumau used to advertise the show on radio.
Right.
Yeah, I still remember how he started this program. Chokureva Fashions, Machipisa Shopping Center, Highfield. Vanokupai zvanhasi muchinokoro muine kenyu tsuro magenga. We used to enjoy that because he was a close friend of my brother and so forth. So you also...
I'm so glad we had this opportunity to talk to you.
Yeah.
Because a lot of what you are sharing, I'm sure, we would not have had to know about it.
You talked about Besta Kanyama. And there were those businesses across which were parallel to the main shops where there's the police station. That's where Besta Kanyama was.
Yes.
That's where you had Maoresa. You remember Maoresa?
Yes.
And then you also had Dr. Ngwenyama there. Yes. Then at one time, Highfield's community, which is now called Highfield Murimwe, started by the nationalists who saw that young people were not having an opportunity of continuing with secondary education. Briefly started there before they moved at one time to Wangira. And then now they've got their premises at what we used to call Kumapranga. You remember Kumapranga?
Right.
Where as we went to Ford Motors, the Ford Motor Company. So that's where Murimwe is along, I think it overlooks Willowville Road nowadays. So then you had other shops this side, overlooking
Ford
the
Motors,
shops. Ford Motors, and then we used to go there to watch Zinyawe, and you also watch the Cheche Kwamaichaza and other people. It was a place of entertainment.
I want you to come back to the businessmen.
Yes.
You've spoken about Wema Storo. You were going to respond about Wema Baz.
And so, the voices of Salisbury Township remind us that history lives not only in places, but in people. Though this chapter closes here, the memories remain alive, passed from one generation to the next. Welcome to Etosha Gardens. a serene and dignified resting place located just 27 kilometers from Harare. To reach us, take the Mutare Road towards Rua. Once you pass the Rua Golf Club, take the next right turn, continue for 1 kilometer, you will find our peaceful sanctuary. Etosha Gardens offers beautifully landscaped grounds, secure burial spaces, and compassionate services for your loved ones. Our team is here to assist with memorial planning, grave maintenance, and any inquiries you may have. Book a burial with us today at www.etoshagms.co.zw. Etosha Gardens, your cemetery of choice.